Hey everyone, back to you in today's video. It's JMA Friday, so we're going to be having a look at weather coming month from a Japanese model. Also have a look at the CFS model from the United States as well, to see whether they are in agreement on the overall picture for the coming month. Before I get on that, though, just say about the ads. There's links to articles on most pages at GazWeather.com. If you have a browse through the widgets, you'll be able to see if there's any articles that you're interested in. If there is, please click through those articles and you'll be able to go off and read them. And because you've gone from GazWeather to wherever the article is that you want to read, we'll get around you fee on what you're doing. So thanks very much for doing that. It's helped to pay for the website. I'll sit here and talk to you via GazWeather.com. So thanks very much for getting involved. Thanks for doing that. It was the third birthday of GazWeather.com last Sunday, the 8th of March. So to celebrate, we've teamed up with MetCheck Weather Instrumentation with metcheck.co.uk to give away this fantastic climate handheld wind meter and anemometer, and it's worth £32.50. If you want to have a chance of winning this wind meter, all you have to do is enter competition, and to do that, you're just going to send your name and your address, email it to gazweathers@gmail.com. You'll go into the prize draw, and then on Sunday, you've only got a couple of days left now. On Sunday evening, we'll be drawing one name out at random. Whoever is drawn out of a bag at random will win this lovely handheld wind meter. So it's going to be in it to win it. Do send your name and address through to gazweathers@gmail.com to be in with a chance of winning this fantastic prize. It's worth, I say, £32.50, and we'll be drawing out the winner from the bag at random around 7 o'clock in the evening on Sunday. So just a couple of days now to get yourself in with a chance of winning this prize. Right, let's get on with JMA Friday. I'm going to start off with the 500 millibar height anomalies from Japan. Broken down into weekly periods, as always. The first week period will be taking us from the 13th to the 20th of March. As you know, sort of yellow, red, orange, extrapolating to high pressure, blue on these charts, always extrapolating to low pressure. So what we see for the coming week is that we've got high pressure, an area of above average heights in there to the east and the northeast of the UK. The trough is out in the central part of the Atlantic. The jet stream is going something like that around the troughs and the ridges. And generally we're bringing in quite a chilly easterly flow there across the country. So bringing cool air in from the east, albeit we're under a relatively big area of high pressure, so it's largely settled, but it won't be overly warm. The flow is definitely from the east with that one. Now, quite a significant change takes place as we go through to week 2. This takes us from the 20th to 27th of March. And what we see happening for this one is that the ridge is sitting down to the southwest, now to the west of the country. Another very deep trough into the east United States, so they're going to turn very cold again through the final sort of few days, on a week to 10 days of March. And then we've got this trough sitting to the east, where we had a ridge through the first week. Now we've got below average height sitting to the east of the country. The jet stream would be going something like that. So it's a more unsettled week, and we're still more or less on the cool side of a jet, or on the cool side of a jet with that. So it's still relatively chilly, I think, as we go through into the final week or so of March, but it turns a little bit more unsettled, particularly to the north of the country. But quite a significant change there between week 1 and week 2. You don't often see that on these charts. And then go through to the final 2-week period, taking us from the 27th of March through to the 10th of April. Look at this. The trough is still there in the east of America, so still winter hanging on, really, for much of the north and the east of the states. The jet stream going like that around that very deep trough. We've got a ridge through the central part of the Atlantic, and then we've got a trough sitting down to the south of the UK. So the flow again going something like that. Again, we're still on the cool side of the jet, and there's a trough of low pressure sort of to the south of the country, a bit of a cut-off type feature. So again, I think it's fairly unsettled. Wouldn't necessarily say it's very wet, but it's fairly unsettled, and it's also still quite cool as well. We're still on the cool side of the jet as we move through into April. So the JMA, the Japanese model, is in quite a cool run actually now from sort of the middle of March through into the start of April. Quite a cool period coming up. Now, we have got this over above our charts over Scandinavia, and with this one in the Atlantic, what could eventually happen is that these two sort of form a ridge and take over pattern like that. So in April, a ridge of high pressure is going to be fairly pleasant. It could still be quite cold by night, but eventually it may sort of turn into a fairly big ridge that and really settle things down as we get through into April with at least some pleasant spring-like sunshine by day. Let's have a look at how the temperatures are stacking up with this. These are the temperature forecasts from the Japanese model, broken down into week periods again. So the first week period goes from the 13th to the 20th of March, and we see that we're more or less in the blue curves. We're in the far top right-hand corner of the chart as you're looking at it. So we're in those blue curves there. Quite a cool week coming up, particularly for England and Wales, with those winds coming in from the east. As we move through into the second weekly period, and this one is going to be taking us from the 20th to the 27th of March, what we see for this one is that the temperatures again are going cooler than average. We're in those blue colours again through that last sort of week of March. So once again, temperatures are quite disappointing through that period. Notice that also after dry first week, rainfall coming back a little bit into the second week, so a more unsettled and quite cool week coming up then. And then finally going into the third and fourth weeks, going from the 27th of March through to the 10th of April. Again, not surprising on the 500 millibar height anomaly, but again, the blue curves are in there over the British Isles and across much of Central Europe as well, interestingly. So it's a cool end to March, and it's a cool start to April. As I've explained in other videos, generally 2015 has been a significantly cooler start to the year compared to 2014, and if these charts are right, that continues into the rest of March and through into April as well. There's no sign here, certainly for JMA, of a return to anything significantly warmer than average, such as we had through 2014. Virtually the whole year was significantly around 2 degrees warmer than average. Notice precipitation through those final 2 weeks, so for last week of March, first week of April, coming out around, or still again a little bit above average. Let's see whether the JMA, the CFS, is agreeing with the JMA. So these are the 500 millibar height anomalies broken down into weekly periods again. This takes us from the 12th to the 18th of March. It's the same idea for week 1. We've got that big ridge there sitting over Scandinavia. The trough of low pressure is out in the Atlantic. The flow obviously is coming in from the east with that. So we've got easterly winds. It's going to be quite chilly through the course of that week. Probably not a cloud being dragged in through the coming week. And again, as we go through to the second week period, from 19th to 25th of March, there is agreement here between the CFS and the JMA, because what happens through this weekly period is that the ridge is sort of pushed back in towards western parts of Russia, and also got a ridge down there around the Azores, and a trough is being developed over the top of the UK. Again, very deep trough into the east of the United States as well. The jet stream goes like that. So again, there is agreement there between the JMA and the CFS that after a lot of easy winds and fine weather, dry weather through the coming week, as we go through to the second weekly period, 19th to 25th of March, a trough begins to come in, turns it more unsettled. Not a deep trough, but a trough comes in, turns it more unsettled, and we're still, because of the position of the troughs and ridges, still on the cool side of the jet. Going through to the third week period from the 26th of March through to the 1st of April. Again, very similar ideas really between the CFS and the JMA, but ridges down across the central part of the Atlantic. The trough there to the northwest of the country, very deep trough still in the east and northeast of states. The jet stream is going like that, so still on the cool side of the jet, and we're still on the unsettled side through the final week of March, so temperatures will still be quite depressed with that. And then finally going through to the last week period, goes from the 2nd to the 8th of April, ridging through the Atlantic, so it's still there around the Azores Ridge, but it's also going up towards Iceland, still the trough in the northeast states, though lifting up a little bit, and very slack sort of pressure gradients over the UK. I think the flow is going like that, so I suspect there we're still on the cool side of the jet, and we're still probably under some sort of upper trough of low pressure, though it is weakening because of that ridge going up through the Atlantic towards Iceland and Greenland. I think we're probably still under a trough, and it's still relatively cool. If we have a look at the temperature breakdown for the next 4 weeks, this is from the 12th to the 18th of March. Again, in those green colours there across the country, in the far top right hand corner of the chart, looking at it again. So in those green colours, temperatures coming out cooler than average for the coming weekly period. And as I say, those easterly winds are going to be dragging in a lot of cloud, actually. So it's not going to be a very pleasant period. The temperature's going to be cool. It's going to be dragging in a lot of cloud. Quite an unpleasant period. From the 19th to the 25th of March, what happens in this one is that, again, the temperatures come out around or a little bit cooler than average. So, again, quite a chilly period coming up through the final couple of weeks of March. 26th of March to the 1st of April, again, temperatures not very exciting, average to cooler than average through that weekly period, and then finally going through to the 2nd of April through to the 8th of April, so into the first week of next month. And again, look at that, the temperatures are cooler than average. So we've got agreement there between the JMA and the CFS. We've got agreement that temperatures are going to be on the depressed side. And after the high pressure over Scandinavia dominates a period, it could actually turn a little bit more unsettled through the final week to 10 days of March. The temperature graph from the CFS model from the website weatherweb.net, this is for Birmingham, shows these sort of disappointing temperatures. We can see that, well, we do lift up a little bit as we get through towards the start of April. These are the dates just here, that's the 1st of April. This is 10 degrees, which is sort of about the average type temperature for March and April, I would suspect. So we go a little bit warmer for the start of April, but overall not very exciting up to the start. Then for a few days it goes a bit warmer. But look at this, we dip right way down as we get through into April. We stay pretty cool then. We stay pretty cool right through to the end of April. That's the 26th just there. That's a very cool month actually, being signalled there. This is 0 Celsius, and you can see that on several nights through the middle part of March and into the start of April, several nights there coming out with frost. So really quite disappointing temperatures indeed being signalled from the CFS for the second half of March and into April. That's probably quite concerning for gardeners and farmers, particularly if you're wanting the fruit blossom to come out. The CFS monthly anomalies finally from WeatherWeb, and by the way, you can find a link to WeatherWeb on the links page. This is how March is looking. Rest of March has that ridge of high pressure to the northeast, a trough down to southwest, deep trough in the northeast of the state, the flow going something like that. So on the cool side of the jet for the rest of March, if that is right, and relatively unsettled. We go through to April. This is how the anomaly is looking for April. It's sticking a trough more or less, top of the country with quite a bit of blocking over green, so that's why it's cool and relatively unsettled as well, because we're on the cool side of the jet because of that blocking over Greenland and also under the trough of low pressure, so that's not great. And then finally going through to May, just a quick sneak peek at May. The trough lifts out, but we've still got the suggestion of quite a lot of blocking over top of the pole, and I would suspect there is probably a trough under there somewhere, though it's difficult to make out what's going on through May. But even into May, there's no real suggestion of anything very warm coming up, certainly no ridging from the south or the southwest. So let's worry about May when we get closer to it. But for the rest of March and April, the signal is quite consistent there from the CFS and the Japanese model, which is for the temperature to be quite depressed, really. Quite a cool period coming up over the next month from the end of second half of March into the start of April. And after we have these easy wins through the coming week, actually it turns a little bit more unsettled through the final sort of week to 10 days of March into the start of April. So cool and unsettled really is how it's looking on certainly these two models as we go through the end of March and into the start of April. This is all experimental, so don't take it too seriously. It'll be interesting how it verifies, because it's a strong signal for the temperatures to be on the low side. So it'll be interesting to come back in a week or two and see how this has gone. Okay, it's a weekend forecast tomorrow, so come back for that. Don't forget to enter the competition if you want to win that win meter. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching.